Hello and welcome to Precon Decon, the video series where I deconstruct the pre-constructed decks of Magic the Gathering's history. In this video we're going to look at the last Planeswalker deck from Core Set 2019, which is Vivien of the Arkbow, which is a mono-green deck. Let's dive in, let's look at the deck list. So 24 creatures, 4 instants, 2 enchantments, 3 sorceries, 26 lands, and of course a single Planeswalker, and a mana curve off to the side there. Let's start looking at the cards in the deck. So, Vivien of the Arkbow. I think this is her. I'm pretty sure this is her first appearance in the lore. Like this was her introduction, and she's obviously shown up in a few sets since then. We like Vivien as a sort of a different, green planeswalker as a change from like Garruk or Nissa. Always nice to have a extra character in the range to choose from. So Vivien of the Arkbow. Actually, I'm going to do a small funny story about Vivien and the name. So I bought the set of these 5 Planeswalker decks. They were on offer, so I just got the whole set of 5, and I was sort of used these like to teach my wife to play Magic like a few years ago, and I was sort of showing off the characters and being like, oh look, this one's Gideon, this one's Ajani, he's like a lion man, he uses healing magic, and this is Tezzeret, and he has machine magic and stuff. And I was gonna use the green deck because like green is good for like new players, right? Because it's just big creatures. And she was like, "Oh, this character looks cool, like Vivien." Just like, "Oh yeah, like her whole lore is that she comes from a world which was destroyed, but she saved all the animals and put them in her bow." And my wife was like, oh, like Noah's Ark, and just like, oh my god, of course, that's why it's called the Arkbow. Oh my god, like I hadn't even twigged it until then. I just thought like it was called the Arkbow because it just like Arkbow just sounds like a cool word. I didn't make any connection. They're like, oh yeah, it's like Noah's Ark. So there we go. That's my story of how I was really stupid and like learned the meaning of words, I suppose. Anyway. Enough of that, because that's such a non-story. But I thought you might appreciate it. But anyway. So, right, Vivien of the Arkbow. So 4 and double green for 5 loyalty. We've seen that stat line a million times. Right, so +2 to put 2 +1/+1 counters on up to 1 target creature. Yep, that's fine. We like putting counters on things. That's pretty solid. -3 target creature you control deals damage each with its power to target creature you don't control. Do a one-sided fight effect. You got a lot of big creatures in the deck. So yeah, this is essentially like just a removal ability, isn't it? And then -9, which is nice. You don't have to use her +2 that many times to get up to it. -9, this is the very sort of standard green Planeswalker deck ability, isn't it? Of just creatures you control get +4/+1 gain trample on a turn. Make all your creatures just super big and stompy for a turn. Like really classic, straightforward, simple green Planeswalker ability. Yeah, she's super straightforward. I don't think she's doing anything bad. Like all those abilities I think are pretty good. Yeah, Vivien is absolutely fine in my eyes. And then her signature cards. So we've got 2 Scalar Wolf. So 3 in double green for a 3/3. I think she's the only one with a creature that's a search spell. Yeah, because all the others have sorceries, don't they? Or Tezzeret has an artifact. So there we go. So Vivien stands out there. So 5 mana for a 3/3, and when it enters the battlefield, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a green card from amongst them. Blah blah blah. It's the standard M19 search spells. Doesn't search for the Planeswalker. You might get it in the top 5, but you probably won't. So yeah, I think Scalar Wolf is still perfectly fine because at least it comes onto the board. It adds to the board, unlike all the others, which are just kind of like one and dones, or Tezzerets, which just kind of sits there until you pop it. Whereas Scalar Wolf can at least attack and block and do other things. So yeah, I think maybe out of the 5, I think Scalar Wolf is probably my favorite one. Just as I say, because it adds to the board, it actually does stuff. 3 Vivien's Jaguar, so 2 in a green for a 3/2 with reach, which is fairly okay stat line. And you can spend 2 in a green to return it from your graveyard to your hand. Activate this ability only if you control a Vivien Planeswalker. Standard rant about Planeswalker buddies having very niche effects. This one's actually a pretty strong effect, actually, to be able to keep coming back from your graveyard to your hand. That's actually fairly good. I would say it's actually the one of the best out of all the out of the sort of 5 from this set we've looked at. And actually, I would say generally out of all the Planeswalker buddy cards we've looked at in this series so far, this is probably one of the stronger effects, and this is actually something that would be kind of worth working towards, because then you've got like you can play it and it can block, it can like just swing without any fear, and then you just get it back and replay it again. That's not terrible. That's better than some of the other Planeswalker buddy cards we've seen. And then we've got 4 Ursine Champions, 1 in a green for a 2/2, and you spend 5 in a green to give it a +3/+3 and turn it into a bear berserker until end of turn, but activate only once each turn. This, because I played a few games with my wife, as I say, teaching at Magic. This was actually a bit of a problem card because this deck can actually ramp up to 6. Like, it's not super hard to do, and then like leaving 6 mana open for this to go up to being a 5/5 was actually like actually gave me a trouble in a few games. Like, just found really difficult to actually deal with it sometimes. So yeah, I think it's actually an alright card, like at common and stuff. Like, it's probably still underpowered because like 6 mana is a really big investment, but like also going up to a 5/5 is there's worse things to sink 6 mana into, I suppose. So yeah, this is alright, I think. And it's a cute card that like it literally turns into a bear. It's not a bear, but it turns into a bear. You know what I mean? Right, and then the deck's like exclusive rare is Aggressive Mammoth. So 3 and double green for an 8/8 trample. So 6 mana for an 8/8 trample is like that's really great anyway. And then gives all your other creatures trample. You do have quite a few big creatures in here that don't have trample themselves, so this is actually a nice way of giving that to them. Yeah, this is just obviously really nice. Again, this was like such a problem in games where this got dropped and like potentially like turn like 4 or 5 because there is ramp in the deck, and just like I have got no answer to an 8/8 trample. So I think out all the exclusive rares, again out on the decks, I think Vivien's is the best. I think it just it's probably close. There's a lot of obviously they're all good, I think, but this one speaks to me just because it's a big tramply elephant, and what's not to like about that. And the other rare is this absolute all-star back from Rise of the Eldrazi, Palaka Worm, which has now been upshifted to rare, which is arguably what it should have been anyway, because it was very good. It was, I think, almost too good at uncommon. So 4 and triple green for a 7/7 with trample. When it ends the battlefield, you gain 7 life, and when it dies, you draw a card. So it's just a lot of value going on there, isn't it? Like just gaining you some life. If it does die, draw a card. It's got trample. Yeah, it's just really straightforward and really solid, and it's just very, just a very solid, efficient, big green creature. Yeah, I think it's great. I like it. A single Garspark Twins, 5 and double green for a 7/7 with trample, and it can block an additional creature each combat, which is pretty solid. And obviously you want to be swinging with it rather than blocking with it, but it's nice to have that option. So yeah, again, like really, really solid big green creature to have here. We got 2 Colossal Dreadmaw, the legend itself. 4 and double green, 6/6 trample. What's not to love about Colossal Dreadmaw? This very quickly became my wife's favourite card when we were playing, because how could you not like a big dinosaur? Again, playing these core set decks against each other, this is so hard to deal with. Like all the other 4 decks just really don't have a great answer to it. So yeah, Vivien's was definitely like there was definitely have to, if we rolled off to pick decks, whoever won was picking the green one. So yeah, really, yeah, Colossal Dreadmaw's just really solid. It's just a deck full of like really good, solid green creatures. You can probably tell I like this one the most out of actually all the 5. We got 2 Bristling Boars, 3 in a green for a 4/3. Can't be blocked by more than one creature. Like anti menace, reverse menace, I suppose. I wonder if this will ever get keyworded. I don't think it shows up enough to get keyworded. I like it though. It's good. It's just a fine ability, isn't it? Single Thornhide Wolves, just 4 in a green for a 4/5. Yep, just big chunky wolf. That's fine. And then some ramps. We've got 2 Druid of the Cowl, 1 in a green for a 1/3 that taps out green. It's a mana dork that can actually be pretty good when blocking. 3 toughness again makes it annoyingly difficult to deal with, actually. So this is fine. 2 Elvish Rejuvenator, 2 in a green for a 1/1. When it ends the battlefield, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may put a land card from amongst them onto the battlefield tapped, and then put the rest on bottom of your library in random order. Really sucks when you play it and you don't get a land out of it. That really, really sucks. But most of the time you will. But like, I think I want to say there was like this was the design was this way because I think there was like a bit of a shift in sort of like design at the time. Like they were trying to. I think they said in some sort of like design article online or something that like land ramp had gotten like was too cheap and too efficient. So I think they were sort of experimenting doing this like rather than searching a whole deck and like finding a basic land and shuffling and stuff, just doing this kind of like dig for a certain cards from the top of your library. Maybe, I don't know. I might have just made that up, but yeah, Elvish Rejuvenate is okay. But man, when it doesn't work, it really sucks. A single Reclamation Sage, 2 and a green for a 2/1 when it ends the battlefield, destroy target artifact or enchantment. Yeah, just a nice bit of utility. And then 2 Meteor Golem for 7 mana, 3/3 when it ends the battlefield, destroy target non-land permanent no opponent controls. Yep, so yep. It's an M19 deck, so it has to have at least 1 Meteor Golem by law. Nice that this one has 2 because you can ramp up into it, and the 7 mana doesn't matter as much. And also you're green as well, so you don't have usually too much in the way of removal. I mean, having said that, actually, we've got the oh god, what was it called? Literally just Reclamation Sage. Got Meteor Golem, and then here we've got 2 Rabid Bites. So 1 in a green sorcery. Creature you control does damage to its power to target creature you don't control. You got big creatures in here, and a one-sided fight effect is really, really good. So that's like a solid bit of removal. We've got 2 plummets to kill off creatures with flying. 1 in a green instant speed, destroy target creature with flying. All the other decks have creatures with the flying in it, so yeah, this is okay. It does suck when this just sits in your hand though, with no targets. But yeah, at least then you're not being attacked by things with flying, I suppose. But yeah, so actually a fair bit of removal for a green deck actually. We've got a single Colossal Majesty, 2 and a green for an enchantment at the beginning of your upkeep. If you control a creature with power 4 or greater, not hard to do in the deck because you've got a lot of big creatures. Draw cards, this nice little extra draw power. A single Oakenform, 2 and a green, aura goes on a creature, gives it +3/+3. Again, again, all the other decks don't really have an answer to this. Like +3/+3 it's such a simple, straightforward card, and like you kind of scoff it and just like, oh, it's just +3/+3 for 3. What a common trash aura. And then you're staring down a Colossal Dreadmaw with this on it, and just like, oh no, this is actually very difficult to deal with. I say again, in that environment of playing these decks against each other, which is generally how I judge these cards. Yeah, man, it's humbling. A single Declared Dominance. I really like this card actually. So 3 in double green sorcery. Target creature gets +3/+3 in turn, and then it's a lure effect. All creatures able to block it have to. So really nice. All your other stuff gets through, and the stuff that the creature that you cast this on is probably going to be strong enough to like kill like maybe 2 or 3 of the things that are blocking it anyway. So yeah, really solid card. Most of the time, the power toughness boost doesn't matter because you just kind of want the lure effect, so all your other stuff can get through. But yeah, it's a really solid card. I actually really like it. And then 2 Titanic Growth, which is just a great pump spell. 2 mana just to give something +4/+4 turn, which again is a really huge buff. Yeah, and then 26 Forest, which is good because you need more land because you've got a hungry mana curve in this deck. So what could have been? So overall, actually pretty happy with the deck as is. Actually, there's not too much with it I could change. I just want to talk about some of these alternate rares really. Say for the record, the Mammoth and the Palaka Worm I think are both absolutely fine. But yeah, some alternatives. So you can't not have Gigantosaurus, right? Just 5 green mana for a 10/10. Like no abilities. It's just a big 10/10 for 5 mana. Like what's not to love? Yeah, that's such a wow factor for like a new player. I think just to have a 10/10. That would have been all right. Hungering Hydra. This is like a fun little card. I thought X and a green, as Hydras usually are. Enters play with +1/+1 counters on it. Can't be blocked by more than 1 creature. And whenever it's dealt damage, it gets that many +1/+1 counters, like the old Fungasaur. And it's actually an ability that shows up in green fairly regularly. I think that could have been an option, I suppose. And Vivien's Invocation as a big flashy sorcery. So 5 in double green. Look at the top 7 cards of your library. Put a creature card from amongst them onto the battlefield. The rest on the bottom on the random order, and then the creature you put on the battlefield that way then does damage to its power to target creature and opponent control. So it's I was going to say it's a free creature. It's not. It's paying 7 mana on a sorcery, but you're getting the creature down for free, and then it then also does the Rabid Bite effect, which is pretty solid. I think being able to dig 7 is fairly significant. I think this is a fun spell, honestly. And then just like some other non-rare cards, like again, not saying what in here isn't good. These are just obviously like a lot of good options in the set for green. So Blanchwood Armor was in here, which is an absolute casual house. 2 in a green, aura goes on a creature, and the enchanted creature gets +1/+1 for every forest you control, which in a mono green deck is obviously pretty nuts. Gives me good nostalgic vibes, Blanchwood Armor, of playing like back in Urza's, where this was like, oh my god, this is so powerful, it's such a broken card. It's like it's just an aura that buffs up, but man, it's so good. And Recollect as well. Recollect is just a great bit of utility. 2 and a green to get anything back from your graveyard is pretty solid. And Vigilant Baloth, which has the most on-point name ever. Like it's called Vigilant Baloth, and it has Vigilance. Like, what more do you want? And it's like 5 mana for a 5/5. So yeah, pretty okay. Kind of like Green's version of Sarah Angel, I suppose. But yeah, these are all good options. But I say what was in here, I thought was pretty good. So I think this is actually probably my favourite one out of all the M19 Planeswalker decks. I don't know if it's a contender for top 5. I'd have to think about that. But I think out of the I say the 5 M19 decks, I really like this one. Yeah, but I think overall all 5 of them were good in retrospect. But yeah, anyway. Enough talking about that. I'd like to know what your thoughts on this deck were. If you've got any thoughts or comments or stories, opinions about the deck, any of the cards in it, stick a comment below. I'll give those a read. But now we're done with the M19 core set. So in the next video, we're going to move on. We're going to go back to Ravnica now for like the 3rd time, which is really nice to revisit Ravnica as we lead up to the big War of the Spark arc, but we got to get through the other guilds first. We got to do that first before we get into the madness that is War in the Spark. So we'll be back next time. We're going to start on Guilds of Ravnica. Hope you join me for that. But until then, thanks for watching, listening, and have a great day.